Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor is urging Ohio lawyers to team up with the Texas Access to Justice Commission to provide free legal aid to Hurricane Harvey victims. Justice O'Connor recently sent a request to more than 40,000 practicing Ohio attorneys, urging them to offer legal assistance to help those affected by this tragedy. In a statement, Chief Justice O'Connor reads, "Legal needs for Hurricane Harvey victims will overwhelm the local legal community without help from other states' attorneys. So I'm encouraging Ohio attorneys to give of their expertise and carve out time to help Texans get through legal problems caused by the storm and flooding." If you're an Ohio attorney who wants to help, all you need to do is contact this email address below. In the wake of the shooting of Jefferson County Judge Joseph Brazee, Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor reminded judges of the real potential for violence they can face just doing their jobs.
Judge Brazee was about to get an early start on his day on August 21st. Instead, a cowardly would-be assassin who had a pending civil matter in the judge's court shot him in the alleyway leading to the courthouse. The judge managed to return fire, and quick action by a probation officer brought down the assailant.
Chief Justice O'Connor said Judge Brazee was released from the hospital, and she hopes he will make a quick recovery and resume his position on the bench. Yet she said the shooting served as a dangerous reminder.
In this day and age, it's not a quantum leap for a disturbed individual to think that violence against a judge or a family member or court staff is an appropriate way to deal with a problem.
Those pointed remarks affecting the judicial branch were part of Chief Justice O'Connor's 7th State of the Judiciary address before a gathering of hundreds of judges at the annual Ohio Judicial Conference in Columbus. It was called Adapting Justice to a Dynamic Society. Chief Justice O'Connor also touched on her work nationally and statewide to eliminate debtors' prisons regarding fines, fees, and bail that disproportionately affect economically disadvantaged communities.
Our role in the judiciary is clear. We have a responsibility to maintain neutrality and to ensure that the system is perceived by the public as both fair and equitable.
From fines and fees, the speech turned to the opioid crisis, which has cast an unwelcome spotlight on the state of Ohio. This week, the Ohio Department of Health reported that 4,050 Ohioans died last year from drug poisoning and overdose deaths. Led by Ohio, the Regional Judicial Opioid Initiative launched last year continues to leverage the resources of state judicial, criminal justice, and treatment options to be shared by 9 states in America's heartland.
We cannot sit behind the bench thinking this is someone else's problem to deal with. Judges, you and I have a special place in our communities. We are looked at and looked up to for leadership in times of crisis. And make no mistake, we are in crisis.
The family of President Warren G. Harding has presented a unique gift to the Ohio Supreme Court. It's a plaster cast of President Harding's face, sculpted by a Columbus artist. The plaster served as a mold for the bronze bas relief of President Harding that hangs in the court's grand concourse.
It is fitting that we are standing here in our magnificent building beneath the beautiful bas relief of President Harding.
The donation is one of many gifts being donated to the public by the Harding family. President Harding's grandnephew, Dr. Warren Harding II, is also working with the Ohio History Connection to transform the president's former home in Marion.
He was very interested in making sure that everybody had a chance to succeed, equal rights. He was very big on that, and peace and prosperity for everybody.
President Harding was the 29th President of the United States and was elected after the 19th Amendment passed, giving women the right to vote in national elections. He was also famous for his good looks. While his other grandnephew doesn't see his resemblance to his famous great-uncle, he'll take the compliment.
When people say, well, you know, you look a little bit like him, I know they may be just saying it, but it's awfully nice to hear.
That's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.